Welcome to the Electric Theatre.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. Where are you, in LA right now?
Yeah, I'm in LA.
So you're a couple hours behind me. I miss
Where
LA.
are you?
I'm in Des Moines, Iowa. 12 inches of snow. It's
beautiful.
Yes, it's beautiful, but it's very bright, and my eyes can barely take all the color at once. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, it is bright.
Very bright and hurts to drive, but yeah, it's been beautiful. I'm kind of missing LA a little bit. I wouldn't disrespect it and say it was really even a second home, but in my career, I've spent a lot of years of my life in LA and love it very much, and miss the people. Certain people. And,
yeah, I was gonna say there's only.
Yeah, we all know what, the real and what the isn't. But anyway, how's it going there? How are you doing there, and how is it there in LA right now for you?
It's good. I don't really leave my house that much, and when I do, it's kind of weird. The energy and the vibe outside is weird. Everyone's like afraid of each other in the streets and stuff. And I'm from Canada, so it's totally different. And yeah, I'm not used to like a summer in the winter. I'm used to a lot of snow also, so that's been amazing.
When did you go to LA? I mean, how long have you been in LA for?
I've been coming back and forth for a while, like the last 10 years, but I've lived here legally for almost 3 years now, 2.5 years.
Okay. And if you don't mind me asking, I mean, whereabouts in that city?
I'm in Echo Park.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I spent a lot, just we're going on our seventh album. So 5 of the 6 we've made have all been done in Los Angeles, and most of them
cool.
have always taken over 6.5 months, and I always end up staying a couple more. So it's been a few years there, lived and learned, and the disappointments and the advantages and whatever, but I believe it's a pretty good place to grow strong inside.
Bit, Oh, for sure. No, I definitely grew internally being out here.
Well, I appreciate you being on my show. Today's interesting for me because I feel like there's a lot I could talk to you about. And I mean, just an incredible amount that I could talk to you about. And then there's that human interaction with yourself that you have where, sometimes you might be with someone and you're like, this is going to be perfect. And, maybe communication or just something throws off the way the way you really want it to be. So that's what I'm having a hard time with, because there's so much I would love to talk to you about, and I'm trying to dial it in to I guess what's important, for all the fans and the people that are interested in understanding anything about life. But I guess where I thought I would start is with photography. Basically, when I look into your window, when I look into you here, which I don't do. I don't study, I don't do those things. But when things are close, I like to get my vibe and remind myself or refresh myself. So anyway, first thing that comes to mind that I would love to talk to you about is photography in general. Do do you personally shoot photography, or do you direct a photographer exactly what you want, or anything around those sort of layers around photography I wanted to talk to you about first.
Yeah, that's super interesting to me, especially because I started modeling when I was 14, and wasn't really something I wanted to do, but I ended up doing that for a long time. And I have an interesting relationship with being photographed because of that. And photography, like I have like a shitty Polaroid that I use because I could never, the ISO stuff and all that was like, I just didn't want to figure it out. I like the simple snap, but I'll usually with the photographer, especially because when I was a kid, I was like never allowed to speak and always told like how to pose and all that stuff. Like as an adult now, I'm very bossy and I know exactly what I want, and I usually direct the photographer, and it's usually for something for me. But that's because I came from that as a child, and I think that really impacted me. I'm only starting to realize that now, but
what about so you're directing for you because you have this concept, dream, saturation, temperature, whatever it is that's going through you. You know what you want.
yeah,
You're discussing with this person, but now still where you're at and what you're doing, and where I see that I believe that you know where you're headed and where you're going. Do you like to be challenged? Do you like that?
Yeah.
Do you still enjoy that potential fear of that? Not necessarily the human behind the lens, but the insinuation of the personal, the trust. There's a lot of trust going on there. Do you still enjoy being challenged in that medium, knowing that you're still, you're pretty in control of it? Do you like that still?
Like challenged from the other person's ideas and their vision? Is that what you mean?
Well, just I guess out of a safe zone. I guess when I like I said, when I look in, I see things are very personal, and there has to be a lot of trust there. And I guess what I'm asking is, do you represent all that trust that you present, through your medium? Do you have that, or whoever it is that is with you, whoever it is you trust or you're allowing to do that, do you encourage them to push you in some areas that, are scary or fearful to let out that projection that you have? I see a very personal projection from you, very upfront, very serious. And to me, and I'm really not trying to talk a lot, but to me, that sort of work is very personal, and it can be very, very, very difficult to translate to other humans, especially in a town like LA, where some things personal could get eaten up and just discarded, or they could get eaten up for the correct reasons and be displayed as ultimate personal art. So I guess I'm just asking you if you like a little fear in the photography, because it seems so personal.
Maybe the fear is on the photographer's end, and I'm pushing them into feeling uncomfortable and fear. I think it's more that way than it is me.
Yeah,
and that's from like my fear. It's probably because of my own fear that I'm doing that, and the fear of like being vulnerable and not having exactly my vision and what I want.
Well, I think that's where I'm trying to head a little bit, is like I feel it just keeps getting deeper and deeper. you know, and
Mm-hmm.
in the moment, I feel like if you're in the moment, and I don't think you're in fear. I think, yeah, you bring the fear, but I think maybe that even brings more out of you than maybe you weren't even thinking might happen.
Yeah.
Again, I'm bringing it back because projecting it so personal at any level, whether it's $2 million or $2, when it's that personal, that can be very difficult on many levels. A, to work with any human being on the planet. B,
Yeah.
to actually have output, to actually, like, I'm in my house, you're in your place, and I'm able to watch your output, feel your persona, your temperature, and it's personal. And that can be a very, you know, I'm coming from experience, I believe, but, you know, I love what I see, and I like that danger because I'm always obsessed with things that make it out into this reality. Because as we both know, there's a million things that would keep anything we do from seeing the light of day. So it seems like you enjoy, you're very good. I watched The Resurrection. That's the one thing some of the people that I work with told me that I should really get in there, and that feels so close and so personal, and that's why I have so many questions. But you know, you want to ask the right questions. I don't want to be too personal. I don't want to offend.
Oh, you can be as personal as you want. I don't give a shit. I'm very open.
Well, these are difficult conversations because A, you're a woman, and that has nothing to do with anything with me personally. I mean, you know, there's women, there's men. In music, there's not always women who are willing to put on. I'm not saying you're putting on anything. You're not putting on a persona. You're being you. You're a very interesting person. And it's very upfront, and it's very unusual to see that, and have it be so personal. So it makes it difficult to talk about because I don't want it to sound, you know, I strictly want to talk about the art of it and your soul of it and the pain behind this personal.
Yeah, I mean the story of the darkness behind it is such a part of it, and so I'm embracing just having the maybe shit I wouldn't necessarily want to talk about. I'm embracing that as a part of discussing my art because it's why the art is even there.
Yeah, it's a giant.
And I don't think that I want healing for other people that connect with it, and I think not discussing that is leaving too much up for interpretation, whereas like it being more literal and explained, I think could do more work with affecting other people.
I mean, art is such a great healer, and the ability to be able to paint, and what you said. I think I believe a lot of humans have a hard time expressing themselves because of embarrassment. We've been taught to be embarrassed about ourselves. Embarrassed to be in society. The right people weren't around at the right time, giving us the reward we needed to be strong, to move forward. So being able to not be embarrassed with oneself and to project whatever it is, it could be anything that is the pain, it does help. You know, you see it. You see the connection. You see what it can do for people and the strength it can bring them, because sort of there's a lot of people that just don't even know how to think for themselves sometimes because of the pain. So you feel you're getting deeper and deeper and becoming more and more one with any one thing you can think of and just try to exercise it out of your life, or you know, to utilize it to help. I mean, how close are you to all these things?
to the art.
Again, it's all coming from what I see being so personal. Myself watching it, I could push stop and be like, okay, talk to me about this. And then 5 seconds later, I could be like, stop, talk to me about this. And that's only where I'm coming from is, all this pain that maybe you have or maybe you don't. I'm not sure. I feel like you do, that.
No, it is. It's like a puppet show of my mind and my life story that art, especially the resurrection, to me is very literal.
You can see
real.
that. Yeah, I mean, it seems lots of artists try, and there is no good or bad. There just is. And everybody has to give positive feedback, really. But I can see that is very literal. I would say the titles in between each section are the most unliteral thing of the whole thing, meaning that the rest of it, the flesh, is so real. Someone's mind goes to a million places, and for me, they went to a lot of painful places.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of pain, and like the demon, to me, the demon is real, even though it's not, it's very real, and the demon represents real people.
Do you practice do you work on trying to keep, toxicity away from you as far as someone that that is not good for your surroundings or just good for you? Do you work on keeping that toxicity away?
I did not even know what was really going on. I was like extreme. Even when I originally was going to shoot this resurrection, I shot that resurrection video because I had the intention of changing the amount of toxicity in my real life and was hoping to manifest getting the demons and the darkness and the shit people and all the evil away from me. And yeah, I thought having the demons around me in my art was promoting that and manifesting that. And so that was the intention, was to get shitty people away, to get the darkness away and start moving towards a better place for myself. And then with doing this enactment, this performance and acting it out and everything, it became real in my real life. And it caused me, I actually had to cancel that shoot and shoot it 2 months later, because right before the shoot, I had the biggest spiritual, emotional, mental breakdown of my entire life. And all my pain came out, and I had I'm a completely different person now than I was when I was going to shoot that resurrection. So it actually ended up, it worked. I manifested it. I promoted it in the art, hoping that it would make a change in my real life, and it did. My life does not look anything like it did before, and there are no toxic, unhealthy people anymore in my life. And I couldn't even identify what that was before because I was so surrounded by it.
That's a beautiful thing. It's making art that's, I guess, what would appear to be very extreme to what I would think most. Something that's in depth and personal, doing all that for you. That's beautiful. That's what I believe art. I've always, I've always said music's pretty much the only thing I felt like I've ever had in my life, and art basically as well, in all forms, poetry, music and stuff, because it's the only thing that's there for me at all times, during a fight, during recovery, during, isolation, during depression, during the highs and the lows, no matter what, there's always a color there for me. There's always a note. There's always a glimpse of the sky that has some sort of picture. So I really respect and love it when people can put their hearts not on their sleeves, but like literally out there in a way that, that short film, it seems intimidating until you start, until it starts just getting more and more into it. And then, again, it just makes me want to ask a million questions, but I don't want to offend because that's not what it is.
You won't offend me, and you can ask whatever question. And like, I am aware how real and literal that is, and I want it to be that way. And like we were talking before about, maybe someone wouldn't do something like that from shame. So me not talking about what it means would be like that I have something to feel shame for, and I don't. So I will run my mouth about anything. Because I'm so free from shame finally in my life. I have absolutely anything that happens to me, I have zero shame about. And that's because of where I am now and because of doing that art.
I would never ask anything that offends. I don't mean it that way. I just wouldn't want to touch a button that was so personal that it's none of my business, because I respect the art is, kind of where I'm going. It super, I it's so confusing how to do this because I just have to be me, and I could just get nailed to a cross for being me, and
Same.
and that's okay. But first and foremost, for me, I just have to say it's super sexy. It's super. It's sexy and sensual, okay? Because that's what you're gonna see as a human. You have eyes. There's beats. There's music. There's beautiful people. So there's that, and then it starts, and then it starts morphing. The story, and then it starts morphing, and I believe it stays. I believe it stays where it is, but I think it stops being sexy at some point because of the pain. And I'm just trying to say it in the way that's real for me without making, it not make sense. It's just that I feel, I think I knew what I was getting into, but I think what's really working here is that, so many people are like, yeah, I know that band. Have you ever heard of this band? Yeah, I know that band, but they don't know that band. But there's some insecurity in them that they have to say that to the other person. Well, I think the first look into the resurrection, everyone's thinking one thing. And I'm just hoping that they feel, that change whenever it hits, and it could hit very early. It hit me very early. It stopped being one thing and then turned into about 100 other things by the time it was done. So,
I love that.
I love art, and that's why I'm sort of at a loss of words because I want to make a connection. I want to keep this like sort of relationship going because it's rare to find people in general that are willing to just say, I've dealt with this. If it were me personally, like I struggle with a lot of the same where I feel like I can't get out some of my art because I'm too embarrassed. I'm too embarrassed to give that side of myself the acknowledgement of that side to everyone because I've chemically made this feeling up that has made me believe that, they're going to think a different way of me. that they think one way
Right.
of me now and they're going to think a different way of me then. And that is the biggest barrier in art.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of...
Would you say it's embarrassment or would you say it's shame? Like, do you feel shame on
That's
yourself?
a good question. That's a good question. I mean, I have a therapist. I've been going for too long, probably.
I'm a whole year in. Oh, man.
And, you know, she's one of the greatest people in my life because there are dark doors and hallways and departments and drawers and alleyways in my mind that I never even knew existed. So that's a good question, and that'd be a question for her. But
yeah,
obviously, yeah, there's shame. I mean, I think all humans do, but I would say with me, there's shame and embarrassment. And, you know, I want to go in. I bring it up because art to me is like the salvation that I have. You know, it's my casket. And I would love for it to be spelled out in an effortless way for everyone to completely understand, like they were saying the letter A in kindergarten with a teacher, you know?
Yeah.
But art is so difficult, you know, and you made that look difficult. It looked difficult to make because of all the close-ups and the time. So when you did it, was it a lot of people shooting in and out, and it lasted the remainder of the tune, or was it a 3-day thing, or what was going on?
No, we did it in, I guess, all in one go. I think we had to do a couple songs a few times, but it was just this young camera dude, and he was scanning everything, and then they had another camera person shooting VHS, but it was mostly just this one guy.
And you just, because, you know, he's on the floor, he's in close to the face, he's out, he's back in. There's a lot of work going on there. So I think
and then there was also, like, he was afraid of getting, because I had all this raw meat and stuff, and he was, like, afraid of getting that on him, and then that was a whole thing, and he wanted to shoot the murder scene from far away, and I was like, you're fucking shooting this murder scene front and close, buddy. I don't give a shit. Like, this is the most important part, and so there was that.
I was going to ask you about the blood. There was a scene. It's later. It's an up close shot, but there's a lot of blood on your shirt, and just blood that's been, you know, showing up. And, you know, I'm like, that's real blood. That looks like real meat blood.
Oh man, I had turkey in my hair for like a week. Yeah. Because we just loaded that demon up with, like, carne asada and, like, turkey meat, and fucking, it smelled so bad. But yeah, that was real.
Well, yeah, the mattress, that doesn't help, especially on the floor, and then him being purple, and just there's a lot, you know, there's a lot of great. Just a lot of great little nuances that pop it in ways that you have to stop and go, wait a minute, what the hell? You know, I never really thought of a demon. If it's a demon, you know, to me, I never thought of a demon as being purple, really. And that was super cool. And then, of course, the words, you know, I think some other time when we speak again, we'll, you know, once I educate myself fully, because what I like to do is I like to fall into things, and I definitely, I'm definitely going to fall into this for sure, and then I'll be able to, then my mind can disappear, you know, into wormholes with the words, and I can connect dots, and the next time, you know, you have a lot of play on words. You have a lot of abbreviations. You have a lot of insinuating through words. A lot of hardcore stuff that a lot of people might not understand. But I want to wait until I know it better and to be able to get into that sort of like that conversation. But that, again, that felt very cultish, very sort of like a stop sign. All that felt very, very law-like, very stop, pay attention, watch out. I like that a lot too. So I'm really happy that my friends were like, "Hey, watch this."
Me too.
I don't want people telling me what to do, especially when it comes to art, because it's such a crazy spectrum. And again, these are questions, and Kanye West. You spent some time with Kanye. What was that like? And were you able to receive insight into yourself with him?
Very much so. Like, he was really interested in what I was doing when I got to LA and started doing it, and he wanted to sign me, and it just ended up, obviously, like, his world is so crazy and things change a lot, but I went like around the world with him on his jet and his team, and went to all these meetings, and throughout that time, like, we spoke a lot about my art and what I'm doing, and like, he taught me a lot. Like, we went to a restaurant with these architects, and he wanted to build orphanages, and that's what we were there for. And he was trying to basically have a meeting that was visionary, and not so much like, well, this number looks like this and that. And so they were butting heads in the way that he ended up like raising his voice and stuff. And afterwards, he was like, sorry that I did that, but I was like, no, actually, I'm respecting you more, seeing how you talk to people, because he was showing me how I'm going to have to kind of, how they say, like, oh, he's crazy, he's whatever, like, you have to do that. And he's showing me that why I'm going to have to do that, why I'm going to have to be like that and talk like that, because when you're talking to people that aren't visionaries, they're not going to understand. And the only way to push through with something that people can't see is to fucking scream it out and make it happen, push it, and force it on people. And little things like that I picked up and I applied when I was in meetings and people weren't understanding me. And I just call on that mentorship from him to stick to what I want to do.
That's a big word, visionary,
Yeah.
And you're right. That can be a very depressing world if you don't have a hold on it and aren't confident in it. Because this world is everybody else's idea, and I'm here to tell you it's not a very good idea, because I'm bored. I'm the kind of guy that wishes like giant spiders existed, just because it'd make the day more interesting if someone came in and said, hey, we need to stay inside because there's a fucking 8-foot hairy ass spider eating some birds and we should just hang out in here. I mean, so imagination, and then you throw visionary on it with someone like him, and then of course you can complicate it with a jet and a team and the world. You throw all that on it, and it can be a very lonely place, hard, and especially with vision that can change the world, vision that's important, vision that can change lives. It needs to be understood and known. Why Roadrunner? Why Roadrunner? Who at Roadrunner? I mean, I say that because, I've been on Roadrunner my whole career. There is no good or bad to me. You know what I mean? Everybody just does.
Yeah.
It depends on you. You know that. It all depends on you. The more you give, the more they give, the more the world gives. But why Roadrunner? Did you have a lot of meetings with a lot of other people? Do they get it? Did other people get it, but you didn't like them? Tell me a little bit about that. I'm just interested in that because we're affiliated now. We're sort of like label mates.
Yeah.
Well, we are label mates.
Yeah, we are. I did end up meeting, I feel like I've met every executive at every label. I went to Republic, Interscope, RCA, Loma Vista, Columbia, fucking all of them, all the people. And I didn't feel like, I don't know, there was just like, it just didn't feel like there was anyone who wanted a challenge, who wanted to do something different. And I didn't feel like they would know. And with Roadrunner, it was like they've never had a solo artist female in ever. So I thought that was something where it's like what I'm looking to do as an artist is change shifts and shift culture and people's minds and do things, break molds and, like not go about shit the regular way. And I thought signing with them is already creating a shift in something that hasn't been shifted in so long. And it's and I was in a punk metal band when I was 18 and early 20s. And, the metal world is misogynist, I would say, for the most part. And I think me being in there is such a juxtaposition, but also a cause for some change and for that to blend more in that world. So I felt like already off top, it's like you're starting, just signing, it's a shift alone. Whereas if I sign to Interscope, it's like, okay, cool. It just didn't feel like as much of a shift. It just seemed like actual people that weren't robot working at their job. They seem genuine human beings that breathe air. Whereas no one else felt like that.
Oh man, I could tell you story after story after story. I call them smart shoes. You got a meeting, they're meeting you, right? So they wear these shoes that are in between something you might think is cool, but something the guy who's going to write the check has to have him wear. It's it just stops right there with me. It's just straight to the shoes. I'm like, this guy's playing it safe. I don't play safe. I don't play kind, and I don't play favorites. So it's not going to work. I know what you mean about the not breathing the air. I think absolutely without talking about the temperature of the world that it is in today and everything that's going on. I do believe, being the first female artist on Roadrunner, that is a super shift that is needed, warranted. Ben needed it, and that's a beautiful thing. But I think more importantly, on top of that, being a woman working through what you're working through so aggressively, again, this is probably not a subject I'm even going to be able to get the words for, and I would so badly love to be able to be a man and talk to a woman and have the right words to say this, but it won't ever come out right. But what I'm saying is, what I can say is that you do very well at projecting whatever it is that's inside and making it feel exactly like anything else I've seen that could be male-oriented or female and male-oriented. And that's what art is to me. People that go to the Louvre, they really don't know if it was a man or a woman. They just assume it was a man that painted this picture, or this painting. No one ever really knows. So I just think you're doing it at such a high level of consciousness, and I want to throw in on that it's very apparent. How do I say this? It's like a girl gang. It's like I really feel your support for being a woman, even as painful as it is. I feel like I have to sit back and I have to be like, okay, you know what I mean? Like I have to pay notice, and I would anyway. See, that's where it gets tricky. My eyes see no difference between anything, but it's such at a level of like everything else that it's really serious, and I hope it does really well for you, and it's not a risk to put it all on the line. I mean, it's what's life all about, and congratulations for having that courage to, whether it's shame, whether it's just internal pain, or whatever it is. Sorry about my dogs. They're anybody knocks on the door, they're coming for them.
He's a good boy.
Yeah, congratulations on all that, because that's hard, and I look very forward to just looking in, and I hope you and I can speak again and meet sometime. And,
I would love that.
I have a lot of questions, and I wouldn't even know how to begin, and it would take more of, I guess, it would take knowing each other as humans to really do it justice, instead of, my fans are probably going to get a little upset. They're probably going to get a little upset that maybe I don't take it all the way there. But I think a friendship and more of a human interaction to understand it more is how it proceeds to go further. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm loving what I'm seeing.
That.
Yeah, please. And Dave Rath over at Roadrunner, he's one of my oldest friends over there, and you're right, he breathes real air, and he's a real human, and he cares, and if he's told you something, he's telling you the truth, and that's a good feeling in the record industry. It's so frivolous, and they throw you away, and it's good that you see right away, like, oh, you don't look like someone that even cares to try something. Like, there's going to be days we're going to have to try shit, so it's good that you see that right away and see through that. But that's a good team, and I think you picked a good family, and they'll definitely, I know one thing about them and us, the more we work, the more other people work, and that's how the whole world really is, So
yeah.
What do you have? I was looking at the discs and stuff. I don't know if I just wasn't looking right, but do you have a full disc out?
No, I'm working on it right now.
Okay, that's what I thought. So you got something in the works, and when's that coming out?
I'd say I'm like 80% finished with that album. So I feel like I just need a couple more, and then it's ready to go. So we're hoping by like summer, spring, because also they, hopefully want touring to go back. And this album, I've kind of been writing this album like based on what I see myself doing on stage for the tour. So I really want to be able to kind of present that together.
Well, that's another
might have to
thing.
do it live stream, but
yeah, let's say the world figures it out. We all get to go back on tour. Maybe it's a little different than it used to be, but let's just say it's back. Are you planning on incorporating anything that I saw in the Resurrection? Not necessarily just that, in general, but like other things that are, I don't really like the word theatrical, but, you know, more your vision and your art that you want to bring during that live performance.
Yeah, performance art, definitely.
So you'll have a full band, or, you know,
I'm definitely going to have
why
a
I'm
drummer.
asking is, what's your vision? What's your vision
for the show?
Yeah.
I want to take it further with the resurrection, and you know, I have like plans for example, like being buried alive and a funeral and crawling out of the dirt and stuff like that. Like I see myself. I want to continue like what I did with that resurrection video with the manifesting. I want to continue that. So I'm thinking of other things I'm going to do on stage that are going to make shifts in my life, positive shifts, and represent things to cement for me, like my rebirth and who I am now and the way I protect myself from people. I'm going to show all that with my performance. I hate when people just show up and play guitar in their fucking jeans and go home. I'm like,
oh God, I've literally in performances taken my shoes off while dying and thrown them at people that think they're dying in jeans. You know, just that very picture you painted. Yeah, rock and roll has been very generous to too many, and and I say that because the good people of the world don't know what they're missing. It's not up to certain people to decide what the good people of the world should be exposed to or not should be exposed to, but I think we both know there's an incredible amount of beautiful art that could be just, it could look satanistic, it could look, you know, it could look like hell, it could be hell, but it could be complete therapy. And sometimes you got to look in the eye of it, you know, like you are, in order to get any sort of salvation, I would imagine. And that's kind of how I want to end it. Like when we were going to end this is I just want to, by the end of watching it, you know, it's like, it's a very bizarre, emotional thing because, you know, I want to I feel pain for you. And then, but at the end, I feel happy for you. I feel like you succeeded something. And I don't know you personally, and I know I keep going over this, but I encourage people that are listening, you know, to go out and we'll put up links and some stuff, and we'll put up a link to that video and have people check it out. I think it's important because I believe I can see you exercising, you know,
my
what
demons,
it is.
literally.
Yes, your demons, what they are, and I'm telling you, that's hard to do. And if more people right now in the world could do it without hurting other people and could just do it for themselves, you know, we could be in a healthier climate. My mom always told me, I know this is kind of dark, but I mean, I think, you know, people could hear this. Moms and dads always worry about their kids and depression and, you know, isolation and shit. So they always worry about kids, you know, committing suicide, you know, as all parents should. My mom always told me, like, it was better to write on a piece of paper that I wanted, you know, to potentially hurt myself than to hurt myself. And I took that on very, very early on in life. And it was easier for me to put the pain out into an art form. And it began with poetry, and then it moved, you know, to everything it is now. So I see that in your work. So beautiful, beautiful stuff, and nice to meet you. And I wasn't sure how it was going to go because, you know, there's just a lot that you're doing that interests me, that I like artistically, that I'd like to talk to you about. But
I would love to speak to you about it more because, yeah, this is like one of the best conversations about what I do that I've ever had. And I think because you're also an artist and a visionary and no pain, and it's very rare to talk with people like that. So I really value those kind of conversations because I think it helps us maintain our vision,
well,
you know.
That is
and strengthens it.
It's beautiful what you just said, because we as peers and as a thought process, you know, in art or whatever, but like, you know, I wake up and I try to figure out who exactly am I today and what the fuck is really going on. I look at the sky and I'm like, is it still here? It's like,
that's my every morning.
Yeah, what is fucking really going on? Is anybody going to knock on the door and go, hey, man, what the fuck is happening? What is life? Because that's how I feel every day. That's how I feel. But what you just said so beautiful, because literally I wake up, I try not to be imprinted by CNN or anything viral because it can ruin my day immediately. So I let coffee ruin my day. And then I let art like introduce my today. And today I was introduced to your art, and then here ending our conversation, you say it's good for us. And honestly, one thing I don't think I was going to be able to say to you, you know, without knowing you or just having this, is like, honestly, in the weirdest way, like after watching that, I was like, she'd be good for me. You know, like she could help me with something, because like, you know, and I feel like I could help you with something. And I don't necessarily mean the business. I just mean that, you know, when we're asking each other, is it embarrassment or is it shame? And how do we work through that? Do we paint it? I do a lot of it through my photography. And I have a hard time because, you know, in my 20 plus years, no one, you know, I don't remember one person on this whole We Are Not Your Kind cycle asking me what the album cover I took was. I don't think I've had one person. I could be wrong.
Wow.
But if they asked me, they didn't ask me in depthly where I would give it to you, where I'd give it to you. And that's always my demon, is that, you know, I'm trying to express, and people are getting it, you know, but I don't get to talk about it. So I end up being that old man in the cave, you know. I'm still locked away a little bit. So I don't have jealousy. I don't have ego with that. But when I watched that today, I was like, wow, there's somewhere I am. Completely different, of course. But I felt like, wow, we would have things to say to each other, but we'd have to know each other, you know, a little bit more. So we'll do that. And I'm going to dig in more and try to wrap my brain around your brain, I guess. And good luck. Good luck with your album.
Yeah, anytime you want to talk, I would love to.
That'd be great. I plan on trying to get out to LA, you know, just get out of Iowa, you know, get the fam out and try to put on a cowboy hat and just see what happens. And but if I do that, we'll definitely get together and contemplate art and pain and all these things. But keep it going, and good luck to you. And I just love the aesthetic is point on, and keep going with that. Have fun, and don't take no for an answer.
Fuck yeah, I know. That's the best advice ever. I'm honored and grateful that you understand the depth of what that was, and because that's probably the most important piece of art that I've made so far in my life in terms of how much it's affected my real life. So that means a lot to me.
Well, you did a great job, and that's what, you know, to circle back around when I said it was sexy, what I meant by that was that in order to exercise those demons and maintain, if I can, a lot of people struggle with body image and just people around and, these sort of things, you were able to like draw in through all of that, maintain something maybe most people are only looking at, but then the shift is there and it's apparent and it's beautiful. So just we'll get to know more about it as we get to know each other. But yeah, I'm gonna put up some links like I try to do with everybody, and be safe out there, and just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a good job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, you be safe today, and hopefully LA isn't too weird outside that door. Maybe try to make one walk around the block where you don't make eye contact with any one person, and then make it back and be like, that wasn't so weird.
Yeah, I'll do a lap.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you soon. Enjoy your day. Be safe.
Thanks. Amazing talking to you. Stay safe.
Amazing talking to you.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, I will. Bye.
Okay, bye.